This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around for Thursday, March 28th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NBA, MLB, and NFL videos. And if you haven't came and checked out the website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and Draftkings cash signups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure you check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, what up, Jeremy? How you doing, bro?
Yo, man, what up? I'm good. I'm good. Busy day. Busy day.
Busy. Hey, man. NBA, we're still putting NBA content up, even though everybody else is pretty much quitting NBA and moving on to MLB. Got to start at MLB tomorrow. Monster slate with that. If you guys are ready to play some MLB after this video tonight of us breaking down this NBA slate, we're going to be right back on, and we're going to be talking some MLB tomorrow. So, hey, make sure stay tuned with us all night. We're going to be up. Stay up with us. And, hey, man, let's have a good first day of MLB. But, hey, before we get into that, let's jump into this NBA slate. I'm ready to go if you're ready to go, bro.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say one thing. There is content on the site right now previewing this weekend's NASCAR race, this weekend's MMA fights and fight card, this weekend's PGA golf tournament, which is in Punta Cana. That is up right now as well. We also have NHL, MLB, all the content about to go for that, and we'll continue to do the daily stuff. So this is a great time to be a sports fan, period. You got March Madness, plus every sport is in session. So we have content up right now for every one of these sporting events going down, as well as all of the leagues. So get into it.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, man, this is your last chance. Tomorrow, once lock starts for MLB, hey, we're taking the pre-order special is going to be over. The promo code is going to be done. It's your last chance. Make sure, go to the site, get our MLB season-long package. Come on, it's $150. I mean, that's an absolute steal. Just like Jeremy told you, we have content for about 7 different sports right now. We're going to be getting some extra sports in the optimizer. You get all the NBA, the rest of the NBA, all the MLB. You're pretty much getting 7 months worth of membership on our site for $150. I mean, come on, that's absolute crazy. Make sure to go to the site, MLB pre-order special, promo code MLB50. Hey, jump on the money team. Hey, let's get this money. So, hey, let's just jump right into it. First game we're going to go with is going to be the Brooklyn Nets going into Philadelphia to face the 76ers. This game we don't have an over-under yet, but Philadelphia is favored by 8 in this one.
Give me 1 second to get there, bro. Which side do I have? Where are we at? Brooklyn. All right, Brooklyn. So, hey, the first guy you got to start with is D'Angelo Russell, right? I mean, this dude is playing good basketball. It's not like where he was priced up and he was like 9,500 and his minutes were cut. We do know that Brooklyn does have a bit of a logjam, but you do start with D'Angelo Russell. I mean, 9.5 seems like it's excessive, but at the same time, he's had some really good games. He's had a great game against Sacramento. You called it with the Laker game where you said, hey, this could either be boom or bust, and we knew what that situation was. But as a whole, this guy, you said, has the ultimate green light to shoot the basketball. The problem, though, with Brooklyn as a whole is they do have a logjam with a bunch of different guys. I think that you could take a look at Spencer Dinwiddie, Damari Carroll. He's another guy that's also in play. Joe Harris, a slate like this, I'm going to probably avoid Joe Harris, but I think D'Angelo Russell's probably the one guy that I'm looking at in this spot simply because he has the ultimate green light. This is a mini type playoff environment because both these teams will be in the playoffs. Kind of crazy to say that about the Brooklyn Nets, but
right.
It is what it is. I think that this is a good spot for D'Angelo Russell to go out and show this is my basketball team and really put on a show.
Yeah, man. I mean, on the Philadelphia side of things, I think it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. I mean, they're healthy right now. You can look at all 5 starters. Ben Simmons, 9,800. He's a GPP play. Jimmy Butler as well, 8,500 is a GPP play. A guy that I think you can possibly look at in cash, 5,200 is a very, very good price tag for JJ Redick, and this is an up-tempo game. We love targeting players against Brooklyn. So I like JJ Redick in this spot. And then I like Tobias Harris as well, 7,300. It's a very fair price tag for him. We say we like bigs going against Brooklyn. I understand that Tobias Harris isn't the center. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Joel Embiid. But hey, Tobias Harris occasionally he'll get on the block, and I think he can get a couple extra points down low, going against Brooklyn. So I like him. And then, Joel Embiid, 11.4. We've been saying it all year. Absolutely love bigs going against Brooklyn. There's no reason to go away from it right now. If we're just talking about, matchup wise and price doesn't matter. I mean, Joel Embiid is by far the best play on Philadelphia. It's just, is he the guy that we want to pay up for? I could definitely see an argument for it. But I mean, outside of the starters, to be honest with you, for Philadelphia, I'm not really going to be looking at anybody else while they're all healthy. There's nobody that else that's really getting any consistent run. So that's really where I'm at with Philadelphia.
Move on.
Next game we're going to go with, it's going to be the Orlando Magic going into Detroit to face the Pistons. This game has a 206.5 over-under, and Detroit's favored by 3.5 in this one.
So, I mean, look, DJ Augustine's price kind of came back under the 6,000 mark. So I think that you could take a look at DJ Augustine against this Detroit team. They do struggle against perimeter players. I've said that all year long. The interesting play here is Michael Carter-Williams coming off a monster game. So that's a bit interesting. We know that Jerry Grant's a guy that people have been on in spots this year. We've personally taken a lot of questions about Jerry Grant. Is he a good player? Is he not? And then out of nowhere, kind of Michael Carter-Williams comes and goes off yesterday. I think it was 0.8% owned in tournament. So that's the interesting thing between the point guard dynamic. You take a look at the shooting guard spot. Terrence Ross is a guy at 5,000. They struggle against perimeter players. We've seen perimeter players light them up this season. It's a guy I like a ton tomorrow at 5,000. And that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, you could look at Jonathan Isaac at tournaments. You could look at Aaron Gordon at tournaments. And then, look, this is a spot for me where you talk about the rule of two big guys going at each other. Vucevic is a finesse player, but this year and Vucevic's problem has always been rebounding the basketball. But this is a year where Vucevic is having a career year as far as rebounds, assists, and scoring. He's not settling for the baseline jump shot, the elbow jump shot that he has in years past. He's actually getting inside and banging. So I don't mind him in tournaments, but this is not a spot that I'm going to look to load up Vucevic going against Drummond.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the same thing for me with Drummond. I'll start right there. I mean, I like Drummond at a 10.2 price tag. I honestly think that Drummond and Vooch are pretty much the same play. I mean, that's something we always talk about. Obviously, they're different type players, but they're a guy that they're going to give you about 40 fantasy points night in, night out. They're very consistent. Vooch is probably a little bit more consistent than Drummond, but Drummond has been having a really good year. So I think you could start there. I think he's a good GPP, just like Vooch is a good GPP. The guy that I'm looking at, Blake Griffin, Blake Griffin's Blake Griffin, 8.8. Definitely, I mean, he's up and down. We know that on the season, but he's given you at least 4 straight games of basically 40 fantasy points on an 8.8 price tag. All we need is about 44 for value. So coming off a solid game against Denver, which is actually a really good defensive team, so it was pretty impressive where he got 55 fantasy points. I like this spot a lot for Blake Griffin. It's going to be a very up-tempo game, back-and-forth game. He's going to be going against Aaron Gordon. Both of those guys are very athletic. They're going to run up and down the floor, try to get dunks, shoot them some threes. So I like Griffin. I think he's my favorite play on Detroit. Outside of Blake and Drummond, the only other guy I'm really going to look at, I mean, you could continue to look at Reggie Jackson. He's strictly a GPP play just because, he is up and down, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, we know the guy has 35 fantasy point upside at a 5.5 price. At a 5.1 price tag. I'll take a 7X. GPP play, though, only for me. And, yeah, man, that's really where I'm at. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the Toronto Raptors going into New York to face the Knicks. This game has a 217 over-under, and Toronto's favored by 12 in this one.
So we already know that Kawhi Leonard's been ruled out for rest purposes tomorrow. This is against the Knicks. I would honestly be surprised if there wasn't somebody else ruled out here, or if you saw limited minutes from like a Marc Gasol, because this is a spot where there's not a real center there. In New York, so this is kind of an Ibaka spot as it is. I think you'd see Gasol in limited minutes. But having said that, I think Kyle Lowry at 6.8 is a phenomenal play. I mean, this is probably the cheapest we're going to get Kyle Lowry for the rest of the season, including the playoffs. I know he's had some injury troubles. I know he's missed some games. I know they've rested him, etc. But 6.8 for a guy who has 55 to 60-point upside, 6.8 is just a really fair price for Kyle Lowry. Outside of Kyle Lowry, we know for a fact that Danny Green has been a beneficiary Every single time Kawhi Leonard has taken time off and rested, we know Danny Green has benefited from it. We also know that Norman Powell is a guy that's gotten run from that as well. So to me, I'm going to look at two guys here that I think you could probably play in any format. I think Kyle Lowry at 6.8. That's a very fair price for Kyle Lowry and what he brings to the table. And then with no Leonard and a decreased price on Pascal Siakam, I think Siakam is an outstanding play as well. You also can't discount if Ibaka is going to start, which he should in this spot because their MO has been Gasol against teams that have a real legit center, and then teams that are more small ball type with a more athletic center that they run Ibaka out there. If Ibaka starts tomorrow at 5.2, he's definitely in play as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you now that I know that Leonard's ruled out. I mean, I think that Lowry at a 6.8 price tag, lock cash games, honestly, and Van Fleet at a 5.4 price tag. I think Van Fleet's close to a lock as well. The reason being, I mean, they're both very, very fair price tag. That's a crazy price tag on Lowry. And Van Fleet has been the guy that whenever Lowry's out or whenever Leonard has been out, he's been the guy that stepped in that start and roll. And I just think that they're both very fair price tags against New York. So I just wanted to mention that because I like those guys a lot. On the New York side of things, I mean, we got a lot of game time decisions. Dan Smith's a game time decision. Kevin Knox is a game time decision. I mean, New York is just a big mess, to be honest with you. I mean, I would like Knox if he's going to play, but it's looking like he's not going to play at 5,000. Hazonia has been getting some run, but not really showing us no upside. I mean, I don't really like no Knicks, bro. I mean, is there anybody on the Knicks side that you like?
No.
Okay, move on then, bro. I was looking at Moutier, but he's 6.6 going against Toronto, the defensive team. Nah.
Just spend $200 more for Lowry.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I'm saying, bro. I don't like nobody. Moving on, next game we're going to go. It's going to be the Dallas Mavericks going into Miami to face the Heat. This game has a 208.5 over under, and Miami's favored by 7.5.
Bro, let me ask you a question real quick about Dallas. Do you see anything that surprises you right off the bat?
What do you mean?
Your boy Doncic is not a game-time decision.
Oh.
Your boy Doncic is not a game-time decision. Every single game, the guy's a game-time decision. And finally, we have a night where we're going to do this video, and Doncic it looks like he'll probably be ruled out tomorrow. So because he's not a game-time decision now. So, look, let's start there with Doncic. Look, we have the news that and if you look at the news right here, the headline says it perfect. Another triple-double Tuesday. The dude's playing out of his mind, 56.4 and 54.2 in his last two games, back-to-back triple-doubles. The guy, clearly him and Trae Young are fighting it out right now, trying to get votes for Rookie of the Year. This is, to me, it's the premier play for them. There's other guys you can look at if you want for tournaments. You could talk about Jalen Brunson. You could talk about Justin Jackson at 3.6, who's starting. I think that's a very good ups. To me, Justin Jackson is a better version of Troy Brown for Washington. I think the guy's more athletic and he has more tools and a better skill set than Brown does. So Justin Jackson at 3.6, I think you could default drop spot this guy tomorrow if he's going to start. There's a definite upside play. The guy can give you 25 fantasy points. Outside of that, I'll continue to tell you that as Dirk goes on this farewell tour, it's winding down, and the one NBA title that Dirk Nowitzki won was against the Miami Heat. So if you want to talk about nostalgia, if you want to talk about a little small narrative, 3.5 for Dirk. If you want to play him as a drop spot, we've already seen at any given time he could give you 30 fantasy points. We just don't know when it's going to be. I'm willing to get limited exposure to Dirk tomorrow as my drop spot, just for the simple fact that I think there's a little bit of a narrative there with the one title Dirk won was against Miami. So with that said, that's kind of where I'm at, man. I'm not looking to really plug in any other Dallas players. Powell, I think, is too expensive in this spot.
Yeah, man. I mean, on the Miami side thing, I don't have much to talk about. We always talk about the logjam, but I do have one thing. The reason I don't have much to talk about is we're waiting on some news. We got to wait and see what's going on with Richardson, and we got to wait and see what's going on with Winslow. If Richardson is ruled out, I absolutely love Dragic. I don't see how they won't put him back in the starting lineup. The guy's already playing 25-plus minutes right now, 5,000. They were trying to be safe with him. That's the only reason he's not starting. And like I said, I mean, you got Winslow, and you got Richardson, both game time decisions. So with Miami, it's really just a wait and see approach with that. If one of those guys is ruled out, there's going to be, some solid value plays. If both of them are ruled out, there's going to be extreme value on the Miami side of things in the guard spots. So I mean that's really where I'm at with Miami. It's just really I gotta wait and see what's going on with these two dudes. If they're in, if they're out, and we can maybe find some value here. But like I said, I'm really, really keeping an eye on Dragic. If one of those guys are out and Dragic is in that starting lineup, 5,000. I mean, he's another guy you put in and you move on. I mean,
you go Lowry, Dragic, and move on with your day.
Exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing right now. So, hey, like I said, Dragic, if one of those two is ruled out, wait and see tomorrow. We will be doing our, NBA Live video, kind of updating stuff before lock. So, hey, we'll get back to that one. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the Denver Nuggets going into Houston to face the Rockets. This game has a 218 over-under, and Houston's favored by 5 in this one.
This game is on TNT, yes?
Yeah, this is a big-time game.
This is a big-time game. So, we've talked about both these teams thinking they could take that, they can get that number 1 seed and take it down. This is kind of the gate they have to get through in order to kind of be in a spot to get that 1 seed. We know that Denver is a half game behind Golden State right now. So obviously this is a huge road game for them. So with that said, I think you could look right at Jamal Murray at 7,000. I think he's definitely a play in this spot. I don't think he's a better play than Kyle Lowry because, like I've said before, I think Chris Paul's a good defender. But I do think that you could take a look at a guy like Monte Morris, especially if Monte Morris is going to start or he's going to get that run he's been getting. This is a spot where the shooting guard position is a position you can exploit against the Houston Rockets. We know James Harden is not a good defender, and he kind of gives people a free pass from a defensive standpoint. We know Monte Morris in the past is lighting up all of the categories. Will Barton at 5.3. This is a really good price on Will Barton for this type of game. I could see a matchup between Will Barton and James Harden. Gary Harris at 4.5. Look, Gary Harris at 4.5, their rotation is going to do what some of these other playoff teams have done. Their rotation is going to tighten up and the minutes are going to solidify, and you're seeing that with these guys as well. Look at it. There's a huge bump in minutes that Gary Harris was kind of right at that between 25 and 29, and then he goes out and plays 35 minutes last night against Detroit. Only 6.6 fantasy points. The production's not there. But in a game this big against two teams that are really going to get up and down the floor, and the thing is we know from a defensive standpoint that Denver's one of the better teams in the NBA. They're like 10th in defensive efficiency. And Gary Harris is a guy who's a really good defender. So Houston takes a lot of threes. There's rebound opportunities for Gary Harris who can't rebound the basketball. There's steal opportunities because Houston will turn it over in the pace they play at. 4.5 is a very fair price for him. Paul Millsap's in play at 7.3. He just is. It's a mismatch opportunity. And then look, 10.5 for Jokic in this spot. Clint Capella is a really good center, but he's an athletic center, and he's gonna. I think it's a huge mismatch with Jokic and Capella as far as their skill set goes. Jokic, the offense, they absolutely run the offense through Jokic with a high pick and roll. You look at Clint Capella, who's a pick and roll and dive player. So he tries to get with Harden and Chris Paul, set the screen at the elbow, and then dive to the basket. He gets a lot of dunks. Jokic is a guy I think you could definitely look at in this spot to fill up the stat sheet in every category.
Yeah, man. On the Rockets side of things, I mean, you said it. Hey, the tight rotations. This is probably the most important game for both teams this year so far. I'm not saying 100% because whoever wins or loses is done, but it's so close to playoffs. They're both battling for first place. So both of these teams want to make a statement that they're better than the other team. I mean, it is what it is. It's a big-time game. On TV, like you talked about it, rotations are going to be short. Guys are going to play a bunch of minutes. The guys I'm going to look at, I'm going to stick to the starters, to be honest, with the Rockets. Outside of P.J. Tucker, I'm not interested in him. But Capella, 8.4. Chris Paul. So I'll just say I think Capella is a GPP play. Chris Paul, 8,000. I think you can, he's borderline. I think he's a very fair price tag. James Harden, 12,000. Definitely in play. The guy's just absolutely scorching hot. And then you got Eric Gordon. He's a game time decision, but it was already said pretty much he is going to play tomorrow. 4,800. I know the minutes have been down a little bit, but hey, man, they really like this guy. D'Antoni likes this guy. He's one of their best 3-point shooters. that's what they do. I could definitely see him playing 30 minutes tomorrow, and tough matchup, all that stuff. If he's going to take 15 shots at 4.8 and he has a chance to make, 5 or 6 threes, I got to like him. So I think Eric Gordon is a really, really good play at 4.8 as well. But I'm not really going to go on the bench and look at any of those guys. It's really just Capella, Paul, Gordon, and Harden for me.
Cool.
Moving on, next game we're going to go with, it is going to be the Sacramento Kings going into – sorry, my computer's loading. So I know it's the Sacramento Kings going into New Orleans. My computer's taking forever. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry. So here we go. Sacramento Kings going into New Orleans. We don't have an over-under, but Sacramento's favored by 2.5 in this one.
I'm sorry, bro. I got both our developers messaging me at the same time. So where we at, Sacramento and New Orleans. Look, hey, I'll start right here with Willie Cauley-Stein. This is going to depend on what happens with the front court of the Pelicans. But if Anthony Davis is not playing, if Jahlil Okafor, I don't know what the deal is with this guy, man. We saw there was a stretch of like 5 games this year where Okafor went absolutely nuts, and he was the absolute chalk of the DFS world. And then now, Anthony Davis will get ruled out, and Jahlil Okafor will get 15 minutes and 6 fantasy points, and he just is your drop spot. So Julius Randle, he had an off night. He had a big second half. He had a very small first half. I think he still pulled 40 fantasy points out of it, but at his price tag, how much playing time are these guys actually going to play? That's the thing. If we get an idea that Davis is out, I think you have to roll Willie Cauley-Stein at 6.5 and give him consideration. We know for a fact that these guys don't defend very well. There's no Drew Holiday. You could take a look at De'Aaron Fox. Buddy Hield, that's the narrative spot. The Pelicans traded for DeMarcus Cousins. Buddy Hield went to the Kings. The guy's having a career year at 7.4. I like him. Outside of that, that's really the exposure I'm going to look to get with Sacramento. I'm not going to go really much further. Belitza and all these guys are GPP plays.
Yeah, man, on the New Orleans side of things, man, what are they doing Okafor? Give the guy 25 minutes if Anthony Davis is out. They're just not doing it. Another thing, too, they're not even giving Diallo a bunch of minutes. Last game, Anthony Davis was out. Okafor played, 12 minutes. Diallo played 18 minutes. Those are their 2 other bigs outside of Anthony Davis. I'm just confused on what they're really doing, to be honest with you. For me,
they're tanking.
Yeah, I know. For me, the only guy that
the funny thing is they're trying to make it look like they're being competitive, and they try to keep the game somewhat close, but they're tanking.
Bro, the only guy I will touch on New Orleans is Julius Randle. That's where I'm at. Alfred Payton, if he plays, he's a game-time decision right now. You could look at him in GPP as well. But that's it, man. I'm moving on after that. I don't want to touch New Orleans.
Bro, I would say Kenrich Williams is in play just because of the minutes. He's the only guy with consistent minutes. He gives you a floor.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see. Hold on. Sorry, my computer is lagging on me right now. Okay, so next game we got – what is our next game that we got?
The LA Clippers are going into Milwaukee. This game has a 232.5 implied total, and Milwaukee's favored by 9.
There you go. Thank you.
Eric Bledsoe, 7.7. Look.
Oh, you got Clippers.
Oh, do I? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Gallegos Alexander's a guy. Look, I talked about him the other day. I think it's a guy that you could definitely play at 5.3. Take a look at his game log, and he's been very consistent at about 25, right, with the upside of 42. I think Gallegos Alexander's in play here as well. The minutes are there. The scoring is there. It's just a matter of other guys on this team hit shots and give him the assist number. So I think Gallegos Alexander is a really good tournament play. This is a guy you could pair with Kyle Lowry, and then you could, as a pivot, if in fact the scenario plays out like we said with Dragic. So if you're building lineups where you're going Lowry, Dragic, you could build the exact same line and go Lowry, Gallegos Alexander. I think that he's a really good pivot off of that build. Outside of that, Lou Williams at 7.3. The price is coming down. I think it's really fair. This is a game that the Clippers will have to score the basketball, and this guy's their scorer. He's their premier scorer. We all know that. Gallinari at 7.4. I'm not really interested in that much. He's fine in tournaments. Harrell, another guy, price coming under 8,000. This is a good spot for him, in my opinion. I think that with the front court of Milwaukee leaves a lot to be desired. Giannis acts as their center in a lot of spots. Brook Lopez, He's had some really good games, but look, this is a spot Harrell could definitely dominate. And then Zubac, if you want to play him in tournaments, I'm okay with that too.
On the Milwaukee side of things, there's 4 guys I'm looking at, and that's really where I'm at. You start with Eric Bledsoe, 7.7, very, very fair price tag, playing his minutes. I really like him with no Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon was the backup point guard. He would, eat in a little bit to Bledsoe's minutes, in my opinion. Bledsoe, he don't have to worry about that anymore. The guy's playing his minutes. I like him. Next guy, Middleton, 7,000, very fair price tag for him. He's Milwaukee's second best player. I mean, it is what it is. He was an all-star. He plays a bunch of minutes. 7,000 is a very fair price tag for him. Obviously, Antetokounmpo is always going to be one of the best plays on the slate pretty much whenever he's on. 12.4. We like small forwards going against the Clippers. If he's going to be matched up with Gallinari, I mean, the guy's going to absolutely eat Gallinari alive. So I think this is a really good spot for him. The only other guy that I'm really looking at outside of the big 3 right now from Milwaukee is Pat Connaughton, 5,000. Yes, he is coming off the bench, but the guy's getting very consistent run, and the guy's a really good player, man. I was watching him play, and he's got you at least 23 fantasy points in 5 straight games. Had a couple, a 29 and a 34 fantasy point, and at a 5.1 price tag, we need 25 for value. If he's going to give us, 35 upside, 7x, I think he is in play for GPPs. But that's really where I'm at, man. Those 4 guys, and I'm not really looking past them. And I'm ready to move on to the final game of the night.
Cool.
Final game we're going to go with is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers going into San Antonio to face the Spurs. This game has a 218 over-under. San Antonio's favored by 13 in this one.
Yeah, I'm not as big on Cleveland here on the road as I've been with them the last 2 games they've been home. I think Colin Sexton at 6.3 is a little bit expensive when you compare him to Gilgeous Alexander, Kyle Lowry, Goran Dragic, and those guys. So I think that if you want to take a dart play with him, that's fine. Jordan Clarkson is a guy that I have some interest in at 5.7. I think this could be a good spot for him. If they do get blown out of this game, I think Clarkson will get some extended run and a little bit more of a boost. But Cedi Osman at 5.7, it's a really fair price for this guy. He's played really well this season. He's kind of been really their most consistent player this year, in my opinion. He's been probably their MVP. This guy's played really well, and he's done it in a under the radar type way. So Cedi Osman at 5.7, I don't have a problem with him. I am looking to, at Kevin Love at 8.3. I think, look, we'll pop open his player card really quick and take a look at, so I can show you recent production. This game right here against Boston, 26.2, didn't really show up, but the minutes of 32, 31, and 29 over his last 3 games, the minutes and the production don't really warrant the price tag. And for that reason, I think he's a good tournament play because I think people will stay away from this thinking, Love against Aldridge, et cetera, et cetera. And, there's game log watchers out there who will look and see 26.2 in his last game and probably stay away. So I think that he's a really good tournament play. So I have interest in him there. And then the center position, Tristan Thompson at 4,000, 18 minutes with Thompson at 4,000. I think that this guy's a really good tournament play as well. If we know we're going to get 18 minutes out of Tristan Thompson, we say about San Antonio all the time that they're a team that doesn't really have a true center. We know Pirtle's been rolled into the starting lineup, so they're trying to play Aldridge back at his natural position, the 5. I think Tristan Thompson could absolutely eat Jakob Pirtle up in 18 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would definitely agree with you. I mean, on the San Antonio side of things, there's a couple guys that you can look at and you just kind of move on with your day. Obviously, this game is projected to be a definite blowout. I mean, Cleveland's taking it as well. I mean, it is what it is. You look at the obvious 3 guys for San Antonio, hoping the game's going to stay close. DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, LaMarcus Aldridge, best 3 players that they have on their team. Those are the guys that you're definitely going to want to look at. I'm not really going to look at a Derek White at 6.5 when we just talked about we love Kyle Lowry at 6.8. I'm just going to – I would rather go 150 laps for Kyle Lowry at 6.8 than play Derek White. I mean, that's just how much I'm liking Lowry. I mean, if Derek White was, say, 1,000 cheaper, 1,500 cheaper, then, yeah, okay, there's a reason to play him. But when the guy's only 300 less, I'm not really going to be looking at him. For me on the San Antonio side, it's just like I said, it's DeRozan, Gay, Aldridge, and that's it, man.
Cool. I would say Brent Forbes is in play tomorrow in this spot, especially against. He's cheap. He plays 25 plus minutes, and then if the game blows out, I think that's the guy that plays point guard in the fourth quarter.
For sure. Hey, so that's all we got for you guys, man. Hey, 8 games. Hey, we still came up here and we got you that NBA content, get you ready for tomorrow. We will be back shortly, like I said, with our MLB video, so make sure and stay tuned in for that as well. If you haven't already, check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. Use MLB promo code, use promo code MLB50 at checkout to get our pre-orders season special for $150. You get all the MLB plus the rest of NBA, plus all the other sports that we got coming soon. Hey, man, it's a fun time. Join the money team. Outside of that, good luck on your guys' contest tonight, all right? Peace out.